Hello, reader. Are you ready for an adventure? I hope so, because we are about to travel to a place of great mystery. This is a story about secrets as old as the pyramids and as deep as the ocean. It is a tale of a normal person who finds something extraordinary. It's about courage, wonder, and a journey that changes everything. Wild adventures are waiting just around the corner, hidden in plain sight. So turn the page and let's begin a journey into the unknown. The world is full of more magic than you can possibly imagine, and sometimes it is just waiting for the right person to find it. Long before the first human cities were built, Earth was visited by travelers from a distant galaxy. They were not invaders or conquerors. They were beings of light and wisdom called the Alindra. Their home world was ancient and beautiful, but they were explorers at heart. They sailed across the cosmos in ships made of crystal and starlight. They came to Earth because they saw it was a special place, a blue and green jewel teeming with new life. The Alindra were gentle and kind, and they wanted only to observe and learn from the young planet. The Alindra were master builders and keepers of immense knowledge. They understood the secrets of stars, the flow of time, and the very fabric of life itself. They saw the potential in the early creatures of Earth and decided to leave behind a small part of their wisdom. They hoped it would help guide life on the planet toward a future of peace and understanding. They encoded their knowledge into the very ground, hiding it in geometrically perfect structures and in places of powerful natural energy. They built monuments and left clues, creating secret places like the Great Pyramids and a hidden sanctuary deep within the area we now call the Bermuda Triangle. These hidden vaults of knowledge were designed to stay secret for thousands of years. The Alindra knew that humanity was not ready for their truths. They needed to wait until someone with a pure heart and a curious mind was born. This person would need to be brave enough to look beyond the ordinary world. The Alindra left their chronicles behind, protected by nature and by time itself. They returned to their home among the stars, leaving a quiet promise to one day see what had grown from the seeds of knowledge they had planted. Their legacy slept, waiting for the one person who could hear its ancient whisper. Fast forward to our time, to the year 2025. Meet Sam, a completely normal person in every way. Sam lived in a small town by the sea and loved to read books about history and exploration. He wasn't a famous adventurer or a brilliant scientist. He was just a dreamer who often wondered what mysteries the world still held. Sam loved walking along the shore, collecting interesting shells and pieces of sea glass. He felt a deep connection to the ocean, as if it were calling to him with a story he couldn't quite hear. His curiosity was his greatest treasure, a spark that made him look closer where others just walked by. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Sam was walking on a deserted stretch of beach near the Bermuda coast. The tide was unusually low, revealing parts of the shore that were normally underwater. Something caught his eye, wedged between two dark, mossy rocks. It was a book, or at least it looked like one. It was bound in a material that felt like smooth stone but was light as wood. The cover was covered in strange, swirling symbols that seemed to move in the fading light. Sam had never seen anything like it. He felt a strange pull toward the object, a feeling of destiny. As darkness fell and a full moon rose in the sky, the journal began to change. A soft, silvery light started to glow from within the symbols on the cover. It pulsed gently, like a slow heartbeat. Sam gasped, his heart thumping in his chest. This was no ordinary book. He carefully opened it. The pages were made of a thin, metallic paper that did not rust or tear. They were filled with the same alien symbols, arranged in elegant lines and accompanied by complex drawings of stars, planets, and strange floating cities. He couldn't understand a single word, but he knew, deep in his soul, that this was important. Sam took the journal home, his mind racing with questions. Who made this book? What did these symbols mean? He spent every free moment studying the strange text. He tried to match the symbols to ancient languages, but found no connection. The journal became his obsession. He stayed up late into the night, tracing the diagrams and trying to decipher their meaning. The more he studied, the more he felt a connection to the book's mysterious creators. He didn't know it yet, But the book was not just a collection of information. It was a key, and it had already started to unlock something deep inside him. The journal's influence did not stop when Sam was awake. At night, his dreams became vivid and strange. He was no longer in his quiet bedroom by the sea. Instead, he found himself soaring through the clouds of an alien sky. He flew over magnificent cities that floated among the clouds, their crystal towers shimmering with rainbow light. The air was filled with soft, melodic chimes, and the entire world felt peaceful and harmonious. In these dreams, he felt a sense of belonging, as if he were returning to a home he had long forgotten. He would wake up with a feeling of deep longing for that magical place. In other dreams, he met the inhabitants of these floating cities. They were tall, slender beings made of pure, shimmering light. They had no distinct faces, but Sam could feel their kindness and wisdom washing over him like a warm wave. They did not speak with words, but their thoughts flowed directly into his mind. They showed him images of distant galaxies, swirling nebulae, and the birth of stars. They guided him through vast libraries where knowledge was stored in glowing spheres of energy. Sam felt like a student in the most amazing school in the universe, learning things that no human had ever known. The dreams were not just random images, they were clues. The beings of light would often point toward star maps that were identical to the ones in the journal. They showed him a specific location on Earth, a place in the ocean marked by a triangle of 3 bright stars. Sam recognized it immediately. It was the Bermuda Triangle. The journal seemed to be guiding him, and the dreams were confirming his path. He started to believe that the floating cities and the light beings were real. His obsession grew into a firm resolve. He had to know the truth. Sam began to plan. He knew it sounded crazy. Sailing into the Bermuda Triangle alone? Everyone knew the stories of disappearing ships and strange phenomena. But the pull of the journal and the promise of his dreams were stronger than his fear. He bought an old sturdy sailboat and spent weeks preparing it for a long journey. He packed the glowing journal carefully, protecting it in a waterproof case. He told his friends and family he was going on a solo sailing trip, leaving out the part about his incredible destination. He felt a little guilty, but he knew no one would understand. This was a journey he had to make alone. With a deep breath, Sam sailed out of the harbor, leaving the familiar world behind. The first few days of his journey were calm. The sun was warm, and the sea was a gentle, rolling blue. He felt a growing sense of anticipation with every mile he sailed. He used the star charts from the journal to navigate, cross-referencing them with his modern GPS. To his amazement, the ancient maps were perfectly accurate. It was as if the book's creators knew exactly how the stars would align on this very day, in this very year. This realization sent a shiver of excitement down his spine. He was on the right path. As he entered the coordinates marking the edge of the Bermuda Triangle, the weather began to change dramatically. Dark, heavy clouds rolled in, swallowing the blue sky. The wind howled, and the calm sea transformed into a churning chaos of massive waves. Rain lashed down, and lightning split the sky. Sam's small boat was tossed about like a toy. He wrestled with the wheel, his knuckles white, fighting to keep his boat from capsizing. Fear gnawed at him, but he held on, remembering the peaceful faces of the light beings from his dreams. He trusted that they were guiding him. Suddenly, in the midst of the storm, a strange and beautiful thing happened. 3 brilliant beams of light pierced through the dark clouds, forming a perfect triangle on the water's surface directly in front of his boat. The storm instantly calmed inside the triangle of light. The turbulent water became as smooth as glass. Sam stared in wonder as the water in the center of the triangle began to swirl, creating a gentle, glowing whirlpool. It wasn't a dangerous vortex, but an inviting portal of shimmering blue and silver light. It was a doorway. The journal on his passenger seat began to glow brighter than ever. With his heart pounding with a mix of fear and excitement, Sam knew what he had to do. This was the moment of truth. He steered his boat directly toward the center of the glowing whirlpool. As the bow of his boat touched the portal, he felt no crash, no resistance. Instead, a feeling of complete peace washed over him. The world outside the portal disappeared. He was surrounded by a tunnel of swirling, liquid light. His boat was no longer sailing on water but gliding through a current of pure energy. He was descending, going down into the hidden world beneath the ocean. Sam's boat came to a gentle stop. He was no longer in a tunnel of light, but in a vast, transparent dome at the bottom of the ocean. Outside the dome, strange and beautiful sea creatures swam past, illuminated by the soft light of the city within. Before him stood a breathtaking sight, one of the floating crystal cities from his dreams. It was real. Tall, slender beings of light, the Alindra, glided toward him. Their presence was overwhelming, filled with an ancient and powerful peace. They welcomed him not with words, but with a wave of thoughts that filled his mind with warmth and understanding. The Alindra led him through their magnificent home. They showed him their incredible technology, powered by the Earth's own geothermal energy and the light of distant stars. They explained their history, how they had visited Earth millennia ago and left behind their chronicles for a future generation to find. They had been watching and waiting ever since. They told Sam that they could not reveal themselves to humanity. The world was not yet ready for such a revelation. It would cause fear, chaos, and conflict. Humanity had to find its own path to wisdom and unity first. Then, they told Sam why he was the one who had found their journal. It was not by accident. They explained that many thousands of years ago, they had subtly altered the DNA of a few early humans, planting a seed of cosmic connection. This genetic key had been passed down through generations, dormant and waiting. Sam, they revealed, was a distant descendant of one of these altered bloodlines. The journal was designed to react only to his unique genetic signature, and his mind was uniquely capable of understanding their telepathic communication. He was a bridge between two worlds. The time came for Sam to leave. The Alindra could not allow him to stay, as his presence would disrupt their delicate balance. They thanked him for his courage and for honoring their long wait. They made him promise that he would not reveal their existence to the world. It was a secret he must carry alone. As a final gift, they touched his forehead, filling his mind not with new knowledge, but with a profound sense of peace and purpose. He returned to his boat, which was gently lifted back through the portal of light. He found himself back on the open sea, the storm gone, as if it had never happened. He sailed home, a changed person, with the universe's greatest secret locked safely in his heart.
Imagine a man, adrift, not in the ocean, but in a sea of disbelief. This was Sam's reality. He had returned from a voyage that had taken him into the heart of the Bermuda Triangle, a place of myth and nautical legend. He was found clinging to the wreckage of his sailboat, the Stargazer, with a weathered journal clutched tightly in his hands. But the man who returned was not the same one who had departed. He spoke of impossible things. He described a sky that split open, revealing a city of light, and a silence so profound it felt like the universe holding its breath. His eyes, once clear and steady, now held a distant, haunted look, as if he had glimpsed the very fabric of space-time itself. The world saw a survivor, traumatized and confused. Sam saw himself as a witness. His attempts to share his experience were met with gentle pity and skeptical smiles. Doctors offered diagnoses of exhaustion and hallucination. Friends patted him on the back, suggesting he take some time to rest and recover from his harrowing ordeal. They pointed to the storm that had been recorded in the area, a simple, terrestrial explanation for his wrecked boat and his scrambled senses. Yet, Sam knew what he had seen was no storm. It was an event of cosmic significance, a deliberate and intelligent phenomenon that had chosen him. His frustration grew with each passing day, a lonely island of truth in an ocean of misunderstanding. He was a messenger with a vital dispatch that no one was willing to receive, and the weight of this cosmic secret began to press down on him. The only thing that kept him tethered to his sanity was the journal. It was more than just paper and ink. It was his proof, his silent confidant. Within its salt-stained pages, he had frantically sketched symbols he had never seen before, geometric patterns that seemed to hum with a strange energy. He had documented the precise coordinates, the impossible shifts in his compass, and the feeling of time itself stretching and compressing. The journal held the raw data of his encounter. To others, it was the rambling diary of a man who had lost his way. To Sam, it was a sacred text, a key to a door he now knew existed, He would spend hours poring over its pages, trying to decipher the alien geometry and relive the moments of profound, terrifying wonder. This isolation became his new normal. He retreated from the world that refused to listen, finding solace only in the night sky and the cryptic entries of his journal. He felt a profound disconnect from the everyday concerns of life on Earth. The traffic, the news, the trivialities of daily existence. How could he care about such things when he knew what was truly out there? He carried the burden of a revelation that was too vast for his world to comprehend. He was a man who had touched the cosmos and returned, only to find himself more alone than he had ever been when lost at sea. His mission, he realized, was not just to remember, but to find a way to make others see the universe as he now did, a place far more mysterious and populated than they could ever imagine. One evening, weeks after his return, the universe began to speak back. It started subtly. Sam was on his small balcony, a nightly ritual, gazing up at the familiar constellations, but they were not familiar. He noticed a slight, almost imperceptible shift in the position of Orion's belt. It was impossible, a trick of the eye, he told himself. Yet, the next night, the shift was more pronounced. The stars were moving, arranging themselves into new patterns that mirrored the strange geometric symbols he had scrawled in his journal. It was as if the celestial sphere itself was rearranging its furniture, sending him a private, coded message across light years of empty space. He was not imagining it, he was observing it. The cosmos was confirming his truth. Then came the second sign. The journal, which he kept on his nightstand, began to vibrate. It was a low, gentle hum at first, a thrumming energy that he could feel in the floorboards. He placed his hand upon its worn leather cover and felt a distinct pulse, a rhythmic beat like a slow, powerful heart. The symbols he had drawn inside began to glow with a soft, ethereal light, their golden luminescence bleeding through the thin pages. This was not a product of his mind. This was physics, an energy emanating from the book itself, responding to the stellar ballet unfolding above him. The object he had salvaged was not merely a record. It was a device, an artifact that was now awakening from a long slumber. The phenomenon escalated. As the journal pulsed with greater intensity, the air in his small apartment grew thick, electric. Faint, shimmering symbols, identical to those in the journal and the stars, began to materialize in the space before him. They hung there, rotating slowly, like projections made of pure light and energy. They were insubstantial, yet they felt ancient and powerful. Sam reached out a trembling hand, his fingers passing right through the luminous geometry. It was a language not of sound or script, but of form and frequency. The universe was no longer just winking at him from a distance. It was now in his room, inviting him to read a message written in the language of creation itself. In these moments, Sam's frustration gave way to a profound sense of purpose. He was not crazy. He was chosen. The disbelief of the world no longer mattered, for he had irrefutable proof manifesting right before his eyes. The stars, the journal, the symbols in the air, they were all connected, pieces of a puzzle that was slowly assembling itself around him. He understood that his journey into the triangle was not an accident, but an initiation. He was being called, beckoned by an intelligence far beyond human comprehension. The fear he had once felt was replaced by an overwhelming curiosity and a sense of destiny. His lonely vigil was over. The conversation with the cosmos had truly begun. The call, when it finally came, was not a sound, but a sensation. As the symbols in his room glowed with blinding intensity, and the journal vibrated with the force of a drum, Sam felt a powerful pull, not on his body, but on his very consciousness. The world around him dissolved. The walls of his apartment, the city lights outside his window, the solid floor beneath his feet, it all melted away into an infinite expanse of shimmering mist. He was no longer in his physical form, but was an entity of pure awareness, traveling through a non-physical space he would come to know as the memory plane. It was a library of existence, a place outside of time where the thoughts and histories of entire civilizations were stored. He drifted through this ethereal realm, a silent observer in a sea of cosmic memory. He witnessed the birth of stars and the death of galaxies, events playing out not as physical phenomena, but as pure information, as living thoughts. And then, he felt a presence. From the swirling mists of this impossible place, figures began to coalesce. They were tall and slender, beings seemingly woven from strands of golden light. Their forms were vaguely humanoid, but they possessed a grace and an aura of immense antiquity that was utterly alien. As they drew nearer, he saw their most striking feature: their eyes, which were pools of liquid gold, holding the wisdom of eons. These were the Elindra, the architects of the city of light he had glimpsed at sea. One of them stepped forward, its form solidifying slightly. It did not speak with a voice, but communicated directly with his consciousness. A stream of thoughts, emotions, and images flowing into him. "You are the witness," the thought message came, warm and resonant. "You carry the key." The Elindra gestured toward a phantom image of his journal, which appeared in Sam's non-physical hand. It explained that they were a species of sentinels, of cosmic librarians who had seeded countless worlds, including Earth, with the potential for intelligent life. They were not gods, but gardeners. The memory plane was their sanctuary, a place where they preserved the essence of what was lost. The Elindra showed him visions. He saw Earth in its primordial state, a barren rock in space. He watched as the Elindra, in vessels of light, arrived and gently guided the planet's development, subtly weaving the building blocks of life into its oceans and atmosphere. They were not manipulators, but nurturers, operating on timescales beyond human comprehension. Their work was one of quiet patience, a grand experiment in creation. They showed him their tragic history, a schism within their own kind, a faction that came to believe that life should be controlled and consumed, not cultivated. This schism had led to a cataclysmic war that had shattered their civilization and forced the peaceful Elindra to retreat into realms like the memory plane, leaving their fledgling worlds to evolve on their own. The Elindra's communication then shifted from a history lesson to an urgent warning. The golden-eyed being projected a new series of images into Sam's mind, filled with a sense of cold, creeping dread. He saw the faction that had splintered from them, beings of shadow and dissonance, driven by an insatiable hunger to consume the life energy the Elindra had so carefully nurtured. They were the cosmic counterpoint to the gardeners. They were the harvesters. The Elindra explained that these entities, whom they called the Vorlag, were returning. After eons of dormancy, their ancient enemy was once again moving through the cosmos, and their trajectory was set for a world ripe with the energy they craved: Earth. The visions became more specific, more terrifying. Sam witnessed glimpses of the Vorlag's arrival, not an invasion of ships and soldiers, but a subtle corruption, a plague upon consciousness itself. They would feed on fear, on division, on despair, turning humanity against itself before consuming what remained. The Elindra showed him that the increasing turmoil, conflict, and existential dread spreading across the globe were not mere human failings. They were the faint preliminary echoes of the Vorlag's approach, a psychic resonance that was already beginning to poison the well of human consciousness. Humanity was unknowingly preparing its own banquet for these devourers of worlds. The Elindra explained Sam's role in this unfolding cosmic drama. His journey into the Triangle was no accident. His genetics, his specific frequency of consciousness, made him a resonant bridge between the physical world and the memory plane. The journal was the key, an attunement device designed to amplify that connection and allow for this very communication. He was not a warrior, he was to be a conduit, a translator. His mission was to use the knowledge imparted to him to prepare humanity, to awaken them to the true nature of the universe and the silent danger that was approaching. He was tasked with the monumental burden of making humanity understand that their greatest enemy was not each other, but the encroaching cosmic shadow. Returning to his body was like waking from the most profound dream. He was back in his apartment, the glowing symbols faded, the journal resting silently in his lap, but the knowledge, the weight of it all, remained. The visions were seared into his soul. He was no longer just a man with an unbelievable story. He was Earth's first line of defense. Looking out at the sleeping city below, he felt an immense sense of responsibility. His personal frustration was gone, replaced by a steely determination. He had to find a way to translate the Elindra's warning, to use the journal's secrets, to unify a skeptical world against a threat it couldn't see. Sam's solitary mission had become a mission for all of humanity, and he was ready to begin. The cosmos had spoken, and now, he had to be its voice. Sam fell back into his own mind. It was a harsh return. One moment, he was in the memory plane, a place of light and silver threads, a library of souls. The Alindra had shown him wonders there. He saw the birth of galaxies. He heard the songs of long-dead stars. It was a place of impossible beauty and ancient knowledge. He felt connected to everything, a part of a grand cosmic story that stretched across time itself. Now, that connection was gone. He was just Sam again, sitting on the cold, hard floor of his small apartment. The world outside felt dull and gray in comparison. The silence of his room was deafening. It was a stark contrast to the symphony of the cosmos he had just experienced. The memory plane was a place of vibrant, living thoughts. His apartment was just a box filled with ordinary things. A half-empty mug of coffee sat on his desk. A stack of unpaid bills waited on the counter. These were the details of a life he barely recognized anymore. He looked at his hands. They seemed clumsy and strange. They were not the hands that had touched the fabric of space-time. They were just the hands of a man named Sam, who felt utterly and completely lost in a world that no longer made sense. He blinked. The transition was jarring. The scent of old books and dust replaced the ethereal fragrance of starlight. The gentle hum of the Alindra's consciousness was replaced by the distant siren wailing in the city streets. He felt a profound sense of loss, a deep ache for a home he had only known for a fleeting moment. That other reality, the true reality, felt more real than this one. He tried to cling to the memories, to the feeling of being vast and eternal, but they were already fading, like dreams upon waking. The magnificent tapestry of existence was unraveling, leaving him with only the frayed threads of his normal, mundane life. A single, silver tear traced a path down his cheek. It was not a tear of sadness. It was a tear of awe and of longing. He had been shown the universe's greatest secrets. He had walked in the gardens of creation. And now, he was back. The walls of his apartment felt like a cage, closing in on him. The weight of his ordinary existence pressed down, heavy and suffocating. He understood now that the world he knew was just a shadow, a pale imitation of a much larger, much more frightening, and much more beautiful reality. The echo of that forgotten world resonated deep within his soul, a constant reminder of what he had seen. The Alindra's voice entered his mind again. It was not a sound, it was a feeling, a thought that was not his own. It was calm, but underneath the calm, there was a terrible urgency. "They are coming, Sam," the voice whispered in his soul. "The shadow kind. They are a hunger that cannot be filled." The name sent a shiver down his spine. He did not know what they were, but the name itself felt wrong. It felt like an absence of light, a cold, creeping void that consumed all warmth and all hope. He felt a primal fear, a dread that was older than humanity itself. The Alindra showed him images, not on a screen, but directly in his mind's eye. He saw vast, empty spaces between galaxies. Then, he saw the darkness move. It was not just an absence of stars. It was a living, breathing entity. A swarm of non-being. They were the shadow kind. They moved from world to world, system to system. They did not conquer. They did not build. They simply erased. He watched as vibrant planets, teeming with life and color, were enveloped by this creeping blight. The light would flicker, then die. Silence would follow, a complete and total emptiness where life once thrived. "They are the universe's great mistake," the Alindra explained. "A flaw in the fabric of creation. They feed on consciousness, on memory, on life itself." Sam witnessed the final moments of a civilization far more advanced than his own. He saw cities of crystal and light crumble into dust. He heard the telepathic screams of a billion souls as they were extinguished, their memories and histories devoured by the hungry void. The shadow kind left nothing behind. No ruins, no echoes. Just a cold, sterile emptiness. They were the ultimate end, a final, silent death for everything that ever was or ever would be. And now, their path was set. The Alindra showed him a final, terrifying image. A map of the galaxy, with a swirling vortex of darkness at one end, and at the other end, a single tiny blue dot. Earth. The shadow kind had sensed its vibrant life, its chaotic and beautiful consciousness. They were drawn to it like moths to a flame they intended to snuff out. They are coming here, the Alindra's thought confirmed, the feeling laced with a sorrow as deep as space itself. Your world is next, and we are running out of time. The countdown had begun. Sam's breath caught in his throat, his heart hammered against his ribs like a trapped bird. Earth, his home. He thought of the bustling streets of his city, he thought of the quiet parks where children played, he thought of the oceans, the mountains, the vast deserts and the crowded marketplaces. All of it, every single person, every memory, every piece of art, every song ever written, all of it was in the path of that nothingness. The sheer scale of the threat was impossible to comprehend. It was a weight so immense, it threatened to crush his mind. He was just one man. What could he possibly do? The shock was a physical blow. He staggered to his feet, his legs unsteady. He leaned against the wall, the cool plaster a stark contrast to the fire of panic racing through his veins. "Why me?" he whispered to the empty room, but he knew the Alindra could hear him. "I'm nobody. I fix computers. I'm not a soldier. I'm not a hero." The words tumbled out a torrent of fear and inadequacy. He was Sam. Sam who was afraid of public speaking. Sam who got nervous on first dates. How could he be the one to stand against a cosmic horror that devoured entire galaxies for breakfast? His world tilted on its axis. Everything he had ever worried about seemed so small, so insignificant. His unpaid bills, his lonely nights, his quiet, unremarkable life. It was all about to be erased, not just for him, but for everyone. He saw the faces of his friends, his family, strangers on the street, each one a universe of thoughts, dreams, and loves. Each one a light that the shadow kind wanted to extinguish. The responsibility was a crushing, unbearable burden. He felt the weight of 8 billion lives settling squarely on his shoulders, and he knew, with chilling certainty, that he was not strong enough to carry it. He slid down the wall, curling into a ball on the floor. Fear was a cold, sharp thing inside him. It wasn't the fear of dying. It was the fear of failing. The fear of watching everything he had ever known and loved be consumed by an indifferent darkness. The Alindra remained silent for a moment, allowing the full, horrifying truth to sink in. It was a truth that could break a person, a truth that could shatter a soul. And in that moment, huddled on the floor of his tiny apartment, Sam felt himself begin to crack. The hope of the world was in his hands, and all he could feel was the cold, paralyzing grip of terror. In the depths of his despair, a new feeling began to stir. It started as a tiny spark in the overwhelming darkness of his fear. It was anger, a hot, defiant rage. Who were these shadow kind to decide that humanity's story was over? Who were they to erase the laughter, the tears, the struggles and the triumphs of his world? They had not earned that right. They were just thieves, cosmic vandals who destroyed things they could never understand. The image of the crystal cities crumbling replayed in his mind. But this time it did not fill him with fear, it filled him with a cold, hard fury. He pushed himself up from the floor. His hands were no longer shaking with fear, but were clenched into tight fists. The despair had not vanished. It was still there, a cold knot in his stomach. But now, it had a companion. Resolve. He was still terrified. He was still just Sam, the computer guy. But he was also a human being. And human beings did not simply lie down and wait for the end. They fought. They raged against the dying of the light. They built things and they loved things and they held on with everything they had. That was their nature. That was his nature. "You chose me for a reason," Sam said, his voice quiet but steady. The question was not an accusation anymore. It was a statement. He was searching for his purpose, for the logic behind this madness. The Alindra's presence filled the room, a feeling of ancient patience. "Your mind is unique, Sam," the voice resonated within him. "You can hold the memory of this world. You can touch the memory plane and not be lost. You are a key. You are the only one who can reactivate the ancient defenses left by those who came before. You are the planet's immune system, long dormant, now awakened." He walked to his window and looked out at the sleeping city. The lights blinked like a field of earthbound stars. Each light was a home, a life, a story. He was not just fighting for himself, he was fighting for all of them. The weight on his shoulders had not lessened. It was still immense, still terrifying, but it no longer felt like a burden meant to crush him. It felt like a shield, a reason. His despair had been forged in the fire of terror, and it had been hammered into something new, something hard and sharp. It had been transformed into a weapon. His destiny was no longer something to be feared, it was something to be faced. The Alindra began to guide him, its thoughts painting a new map over his understanding of the world. The Earth is not what it seems, it explained. It is a seed, a repository. Long ago, a great alliance of starfaring races foresaw the coming of the Shadowkind. They could not defeat them, so they planned for the future. They hid their knowledge, their power, and their hope on worlds that showed promise. Your world was one of them. They wove a network of energy around the planet, a defensive system. We must awaken it. We must reactivate the nodes. Sam listened, his mind racing to keep up. The Alindra showed him images of these nodes. They were not futuristic machines or gleaming towers. They were hidden in plain sight. They were integrated into the most ancient and powerful places on Earth, places of myth and legend. Stonehenge, the Nazca Lines, the Great Pyramid of Giza. These were not just monuments built by ancient humans, they were conduits, batteries, anchors for a planetary defense grid that had slumbered for millennia, waiting for someone with the right key to turn it back on. Sam was that key. Each node is a lock. The Alindra's thoughts continued, showing him glimpses of intricate energy patterns and cosmic geometry. They are sealed by puzzles of light and resonance. Your unique connection to the memory plane allows you to perceive these patterns. You can hear the song that will unlock them. Sam felt a strange sense of familiarity as he looked at the complex diagrams. It was like a language he had forgotten he knew. The patterns resonated with the echoes of the memory plane, still lingering in his mind. He was beginning to understand. This wasn't a mission of brute force. It was a mission of harmony and connection. The first step was clear. The Alindra focused his attention on a single point on the globe, a place of sand and sun and history. The journey begins in the desert, the voice declared. The Great Pyramid is the first and most powerful node. It is the heart of the network, the serpent's heart. It is there you will face your first test and awaken the first light of hope against the coming darkness. The path was laid out before him. It was a path that would take him from his ordinary life and lead him into the heart of Earth's most enduring mysteries. The whispers of the ancient nodes were calling to him. The idea of traveling to Egypt was absurd. Just yesterday his biggest concern was fixing a corrupted hard drive for a client. Now he was booking a one-way flight to Cairo, his life savings draining away for a purpose that sounded like science fiction. He packed a small bag. What is one pack for a mission to save the world? He threw in a passport, a change of clothes, a sturdy pair of boots, and a powerful flashlight. It felt ridiculously inadequate. He was walking into the heart of an ancient mystery to fight a cosmic horror with little more than what he could carry in a backpack. As the plane soared above the clouds, leaving his old life far below, Sam felt a strange sense of peace settle over him. The fear was still there, a constant companion humming just beneath the surface, but the panic was gone. He had a purpose now, a clear, albeit terrifying, goal. He was no longer drifting, he was moving towards something. He was a man with a mission. He looked out the window at the endless expanse of blue sky and white clouds, and for the first time, he did not feel small. He felt like a part of something immeasurably vast and important. He was a single cell in the body of the world, rushing to heal a wound. The Alindra's voice was a quiet comfort in his mind. You are not alone, Sam. I am with you. The memories of all who came before are with you. He felt a surge of strength from those words. He was a messenger, a courier carrying the legacy of countless forgotten civilizations. He was the final hope of an ancient alliance. He was the inheritor of their will. When he landed in Cairo, the heat and noise of the city were a shock to his system. But amidst the chaos, he felt the pull of the desert, the call of the pyramid, a low, thrumming energy that only he could perceive. Standing before the Great Pyramid of Giza as the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the sand, Sam felt a profound sense of awe. This was it. The serpent's heart, the first lock. He was no longer Sam, the computer technician from a generic city. He was the keeper of memories. The key to the great network. He took a deep breath, the dry desert air filling his lungs. He accepted his role. He accepted his fate. The shadow kind were coming, but for the first time, he felt a spark of genuine hope. The light of humanity would not be extinguished so easily. The countdown was on, but now, so was the fight. The instant his skin touched it, a shockwave exploded outward, blasting wind through the chamber. The ceiling lit up with swirling galaxies. The floor shifted into liquid light. Ah! Sam screamed as a surge of knowledge poured into him. Maps, codes, memories of ancient Earth, blueprints of Elindra technology. He saw flashes of the crystalline cities they'd built beneath oceans, the hidden gate under Bermuda, the network of nodes connecting every continent, and the shadow, the dark writhing storm of the shadow kind, devouring entire star systems. Sam fell to his knees, panting. The Elindra touched his shoulder. You felt it, didn't you? Everything. I saw everything. And now you understand why Earth needs you. How do I activate it? With your resonance. You must synchronize your frequency with the node. I don't know how. You will. The node began pulsing faster, its rhythm syncing with Sam's heartbeat. The energy around it thickened, vibrating the air. Sam could feel it pulling him closer. He stood, steadied himself, and reached out again. This time, he didn't hesitate. His fingertips brushed the surface, and the node exploded with light, wrapping him in a cocoon of pure, humming energy. His bones vibrated, his vision blurred, his heart synchronized with the node's beat. The Elindra watched silently. A deep, resonant boom echoed through the chamber as the node came fully online. Beams of light shot into the ground, shooting through the earth like veins awakening after millennia of sleep. Sam staggered back, gasping for breath. It's active, for the first time in over 50,000 years. But then, a sound ripped through the chamber, a horrifying, guttural screech, like metal tearing through flesh and shadows, ripping through dimensions. Sam froze. The Elindra's eyes widened. No, it's too soon. Dark cracks formed in the air behind them, thin lines of black lightning spreading across the chamber wall. The temperature dropped. The lights flickered. Is that them? The Elindra stepped in front of him, raising a shimmering shield of blue energy. Yes, they have found this node. The cracks widened, pulsing like veins. Something was pushing through. Something massive. Run, Sam. The node will hold. You must reach the second one. But what about you? I will hold them back. The cracks exploded open. A monstrous shape began to force its way through, a swirling vortex of shadow limbs, twisting faces, and red burning eyes. Sam staggered backward, heart slamming in his chest. The Elindra pushed him toward the exit. Go now! The creature roared, a sound so violent the entire pyramid trembled. Sam turned and ran. His feet pounded against the ancient stone floor as the chamber behind him erupted with deafening roars. The tunnel that felt calm moments ago now shook violently, dust raining from the ceiling. Blue lights flickered erratically, reacting to the presence of the shadow kind as if the pyramid itself feared them. Behind him, a blast of black energy tore through the air, followed by the Elindra's cry. Keep moving, Sam! Sam didn't look back. He couldn't. Every instinct in his body screamed run, run, run. The shadows slithered through the cracks in reality, chasing him like living darkness. Their whispers scratched at the edges of his mind, voices layered with malice and hunger. You cannot escape. The key belongs to us. Your world will feed us. Sam clamped his hands over his ears, but the voices burrowed through his thoughts anyway. He sprinted up the narrow passage, lungs burning. The blue symbols on the walls surged with light as he passed, recognizing his presence, trying to help by brightening the way. A violent tremor shook the ground. Sam stumbled, fell, rolled across the stone floor. He groaned, pushing himself up. His palms stung. Sand clung to his sweat. His heart hammered. He risked a glance back. A shadow hand, longer than any limb should be, slithered out of the darkness at the bottom of the tunnel, clawing along the wall, scraping deep grooves into the stone. Sam's blood turned to ice. He ran again, up the passage, up the ancient steps, toward the faint glow of the desert moon. Just as he reached the final platform, the exit ahead, the pyramid shook violently. The tunnel behind him cracked open as the monstrous entity forced itself further through the rift. But then, A blinding blue explosion erupted deep within the chamber. Sam felt the shockwave through the stone. The Alindra. It had unleashed a defensive blast. The shadow hand recoiled, screeching so loudly that Sam felt it in his bones. The tunnel momentarily sealed with pure crystal light. Sam didn't waste a second. He threw himself out of the hidden entrance and tumbled onto the sand outside. The desert night slammed into him. Hot wind, starlit sky, the vast quiet of Giza. He lay there gasping for air, alive, barely. The hidden seam of the pyramid sealed itself behind him instantly, leaving no trace that it had ever opened. Sam pushed himself upright, trembling. The sky above him flickered. A ripple, subtle, like heat distortion, passed over the stars. That was them, the shadow kind, and they're already breaking through. The ground beneath him vibrated softly. The node had activated, but it was only one out of many. The Alindra's last words echoed in his mind. "You must reach the second one." A location flashed into his mind. A coastline. A violent storm. A swirling portal of blue light. The Bermuda Triangle. Of course. Sam staggered to his feet. He looked back at the pyramid, glowing faintly with the newly awakened energy of the node. "I'll come back for you, I promise." He turned toward the horizon. He had 3 months. One node down. Several more buried across the world, and the shadow kind already cracking the veil. Sam clenched his fists. "No one believes me, but that won't stop me. Not anymore." The journal vibrated in his pocket, soft but steady. Reassuring. Guiding. Sam took his first step into the desert. Then another. His journey to the Bermuda Triangle had begun. Sam stepped into the desert night, each footprint pushing him closer to a destiny he never asked for, but could no longer escape. The journal pulsed against his leg, guiding him with a strange inner compass. He didn't know how, but he felt the direction of the Bermuda Triangle. It was like a whisper in his blood. Hours later, Sam reached a small airport on the outskirts of Cairo. Everything felt unreal. The glowing pyramid door, the monstrous shadows, the Alindra fighting beneath the Earth's surface. And now he was walking through a silent terminal carrying the fate of the world in his hands. He boarded a plane heading west. No luggage, no explanations. Only purpose, only fear, only the journal. As the plane took off, Sam stared out the window at the night sky. The stars shimmered faintly, but something was wrong. He noticed tiny distortions, ripples, like invisible fingers pulling at the edges of reality. The shadow kind were everywhere now, watching, searching. Sam clenched the seat rest as turbulence shook the plane harder than normal. A child cried in the back. Flight attendants exchanged uneasy glances. They're testing the veil. Hours passed. Land became ocean, dark, endless ocean. Lightning flickered far below, illuminating swirling clouds arranged in a perfect spiral. Too perfect to be natural. Sam's pulse quickened. They were approaching the triangle, exactly where he needed to go. When the plane began descending to a nearby coastal airport, Sam grabbed his things and headed straight toward the docks. The sea air was heavy, wet, electric. Waves slammed against the concrete as if warning him to go back, but he walked forward. He found a small fishing boat tied to the pier, its owner snoring in a chair, hat covering his face. Sam gently placed money in the man's hand, untied the rope, and drifted off into the dark waters before the man even woke up. The deeper Sam sailed, the louder the ocean became. Like the sea itself was whispering ancient secrets. The sky twisted into strange colors. The compass spun wildly. The waves circled the boat in perfect rings. Sam's breath hitched. He'd reached it, the Bermuda Triangle. And suddenly, the sea split open, not physically, but through light. A massive vortex of glowing blue energy spiraled down from the sky, connecting sea and heavens in a column of swirling luminescence. Lightning carved symbols in the clouds, Alindra symbols. The journal in Sam's pocket blazed hot. He stood at the boat's bow, heart racing, as the vortex opened into a circular portal of shimmering liquid air. A calm voice echoed through his mind. "Enter, Samuel, the second node awaits." Sam grabbed the controls and steered the boat straight into the heart of the vortex. The ocean erupted with light. He felt his consciousness stretch, pulled in 1,000 directions, through water and time and memory, until everything snapped to black. Silence. Then, a soft hum. Sam opened his eyes. His boat floated in a vast, impossibly empty ocean, calm, still, like a mirror. The sky above was purple and gold. No sun, no moon, just endless horizon. And in the center of this impossible sea rose a massive crystalline tower, spiraling upward from the water, glowing with blue energy that pulsed through the ocean itself. Sam's breath caught. The second node. It was beautiful, terrifying, alive. He steered the boat closer. As I got closer, the water started to shift, and these luminous patterns appeared under the surface, almost like constellations drifting beneath the waves. With every step, the journal in my hand glowed brighter and brighter, until it was honestly almost blinding. When I finally reached the base of the crystal tower, a circular platform rose up from the water, creating this pathway right to it. I stepped onto the platform, and the whole tower reacted. The crystals began to hum. Water rose up in spiraling shapes all around me. Suddenly, a beam of light shot straight up into the sky. I felt this energy vibrating in my bones, totally syncing up with my heartbeat. I put my hand on the tower, and then, bam, a vision hit me, just like that. I saw the Alindra city that once floated here, above the ocean. Their ships gliding through the sky, the shadow kind ripping holes in space, the Alindra activating this node to seal the rift, the war, the screams, the fall. I gasped as the vision snapped away. The node pulsed right in front of me. Okay, let's do this. I braced myself, put both hands on the crystal, and let the resonance take over. The node just exploded with light. Lightning shot across the sea. The sky rippled. The crystal tower sent out these massive waves of energy, forming a protective dome of shimmering blue light over the triangle. I screamed from the force, but I didn't let go. I held on. This time I didn't fall, didn't collapse. I stood my ground. The node accepted me, and it activated. A deep, deafening hum shook the whole world. The ocean started to glow. The clouds parted, and the portal behind me slammed shut. I staggered back, totally drenched in sweat. 2 nodes were active now. Earth was a little safer, but honestly, only a little. Then I heard it, a faint whisper behind me, growing louder and louder, until it became a voice, all distortion and menace. You activate the shields, but you cannot outrun us. I spun around, and there it was, a dark silhouette rising from the sea, taller than a building, made of living shadow, with dozens of eyes burning red and dozens of mouths whispering in unison. The shadow kind had found the triangle. I just froze. The creature leaned forward and said, "We know where the next node is." My heart dropped. The monster's form twisted and it whispered, "And we will reach it. Before you." I stood there, right in the middle of the Bermuda sands, my lungs burning with the weight of everything I'd just learned. The light from the alien craft had vanished a few minutes ago, but its echo was still in the air, pulsing like a fading heartbeat. Behind me, the ocean shimmered with this weird, unnatural glow. One last reminder of the world I'd touched, a world no human was ever supposed to see. For a moment, everything was just silent. Then, voices. People started running toward me, coast guards, scientists, reporters, even tourists who'd seen the sky crack open with the alien ship's departure. I tried to speak, tried to explain, but my throat was trembling. I wasn't even sure the words I had left were human anymore. I met them. They're real. They've always been here. But everyone who reached me just gave me the same look, half confusion, half pity. The Coast Guard said, "Sir, you disappeared for 3 days. Are you sure you're not dehydrated? Maybe you dreamed?" But I just blurted out, "It wasn't a dream. They took me to another system, another reality. They showed me their history, our history. Earth isn't alone." But it didn't matter how passionately I spoke, or how vivid my descriptions were, or how many tiny alien symbols I drew in the sand. Nobody believed me. Days passed, then weeks, then months. People called me crazy. Some called me a liar. Others just laughed. But every night when the world was asleep, I looked up at the sky and whispered, "You promised you'd return." And, somewhere deep beyond the galaxies, I know they heard me. Because the alien civilization, the ancient travelers who built pyramids across worlds and left secrets in the cracks of space-time, never forgot about the human who wasn't afraid. One night I saw it again. A single streak of silver across the sky. Silent, swift, watching. I smiled. He wasn't alone. Not anymore. And even though the world refused to believe, I knew that one day the truth would come back to Earth, louder, brighter, and impossible to ignore, because some stories aren't meant to stay hidden forever. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe and stay with me for more adventures, more mysteries, and more unbelievable tales. And hey, if you want to support my work and help me keep creating content, you can do that through my Ko-fi. The link is down below. See you in the next story. Our journey is just getting started.